Before anyone says anything, yes, I'm in my pajamas, it is late, I'm tired. Alright, so today we're going to be playing some Gator, and honestly, right now this deck might be better positioned in the meta than you think. So, if you don't know what Feraligatr does, it has a great ability. Once during a turn you would put 5 damage counters to the Pokemon. If you do, during this turn, attacks used by this Pokemon do 120 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. Pair this with Giant Wave, you're hitting 280 damage, which isn't bad. However, paired with Relicanth, which lets you use attacks from Pokemon you evolved from, you now have access to Reverse Thrust for 150 damage, which switches with one of your bench Pokemon, and you also have access to Bug Bite, which during your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat. So, it is quite good. However, you can activate multiple Torrential Heart abilities and put up to 150 damage on your Pokemon. You're probably not going to do that, but let's say you do 100 damage to yourself, right? Then you can use your Munkidori to move that damage you just did to yourself to your opponent's side. So now you could be doing a lot more than just 280. And honestly, this deck seems quite good. With this deck, you probably want to go second. Hitting an Arven is quite strong. You can hit TM Evo and then also just have the tree up on the next turn if you want that. However, we will just get a mulligan instead. Alright, well, starting with a Relicanth isn't ideal, I guess. Okay, they start with Squawk. What is the big idea? Nowadays, decks that rely on one prizes do feel a little bit underwhelming. Like, the only decks I can actually think of that only play one prizes would be Ancient Box, I guess. And that deck's kind of falling off because of how bad of a Dragapult matchup it has. So, seeing a one prize Pokemon do actually half decent is kind of refreshing. And obviously, the deck isn't going to be insane, but you can definitely get some nice wins. And like against this matchup, I'm not too sure if they're going to have many answers to Mimikyu once they evolve. So playing against Copper Raj or Caledon, shout out Pokemon Live Ladder for always giving us some insane matchups. But yeah, like this deck can trade quite favorably into a lot of decks. I honestly think this deck actually has a really good matchup against Gardevoir, since you can just spawn your own damage in using Torrential Heart and just move it straight away with Munkidori. However, setting up is probably the issue. Like, looking at our hand, we have a Poffin, but not much more after that, unfortunately. Getting a Crispin's quite nice. We're probably going to get one Totodile and a Budew to slow them down a little bit. We have the Crispin attach, retreat into the Dew, and I think honestly from here we can just play the Crispin so that if we do top deck an Arven, we'll put this into our hand, just attach to the monkey, and then we'll just go straight for an Energy Pollen. And honestly, any deck that can actually just abuse Munkidori, it's going to be a good deck. Munkidori is arguably the best card in the game, I'm not going to lie. Like, just being able to set up multiple Munkidoris, keep healing your Pokemon while sending stuff at your opponent is just insane. Okay, so we hit the Colress, so we can find the tree and an energy card, so we'll guaranteed have an attack this turn, which is nice, and we'll also be able to move some damage off of the Munkidori. Another thing is, the Totodile is actually kind of bulky. So obviously Lux Cape does kind of defeat the whole purpose of being a one prize deck, but it does give us extra HP to play with. Like now we're at 280 HP Pokemon, and honestly there's not many like cards that can just deal with a 280 HP like Pokemon, right? It's just not easy for decks to just one-shot you. So being able to set up multiple 280 HP Feraligatrs, it can get a bit overwhelming for your opponent. Like over here, we don't even have to attack with our Feraligatr. Like because we have the free retreat, I think we might. I wish I could. There we go. So we can actually reverse thrust here for 150 to kill the Squawk. Wait, that's actually really nice. I'm gonna put the cape. Oh, wait, I don't know if we put the cape on. I think honestly, let's just chill for a bit. Let's just do this, and then we can just go Arven and just set up another another guy next turn. So let's put the cape on him for now. He'll go up to 280 HP, and then we can just go Itchy Pollen. And then next turn we can start setting up a second Feraligatr, and from there I don't mind swinging with him. Because the issue is with this deck is if one of your Feraligatrs die, it can get a bit sketchy. If you only have one Feraligatr in play and it just dies, then things can get a bit sketchy. Obviously you can still play around like your Mimikyus and stuff, but the game becomes a little bit more difficult. So yeah, alright. We're definitely gonna just rip. Okay, cool. We find him, that's cool. I do kinda... Hold up, I wanna set up a second monkey then. Let us grab this and a... What do we want to grab? I think we can grab the Evo and just get rid of it now. And now we can start doing the good old activate Torrential Heart, not actually attack with it, and just send over 50 damage for free. So this is what I'm saying, like being able to just activate Torrential Heart, do 50 damage to yourself, then rip Adrenabrain, move 50, and just start setting up these bigger one-shots later on in the game. It is honestly quite strong. Like, we've just done 70 damage to this Copperajah in 2 turns just using monkeys, right? And he's still under item lock. So, obviously now he can retreat and attack with the Copperajah, but then if he does that, we're just going to come in with Feraligatr and just smack this thing, right? The best way to describe this deck, it does kind of feel like a almost Guardy clone, because you have your damage spawner, and you have like a toolbox of attacks that you can use, and then you have Munkidoris that you can just completely abuse. So I do really like the idea of this deck. It is really cool. Alright, Grand Tree also just adds so much more consistency. A lot of these lists are playing Prime Catcher and Secret Box and stuff right now, but Grand Tree I think is still the strongest for me, at least. We do have a water energy. I think if we whiff a water energy, it can get a bit sketchy. So let's go Torrential Heart here. Wait, hold up. Do we need to? I think we're gonna go double monkey the Squawk. Okay, that's a questionable way to do the 30. And then just Lana the 1 energy back into our hand and just Giant Wave. I don't think I mind that. And next time we just can't use Giant Wave, which doesn't really matter too much for us. I'm not going to grab the Bed, I'm going to be going into a Budew. Maybe we could have actually grabbed the Budew, because we could have just pivoted back into it using like reverse thrust or something. Anyway, we're going to go Giant Wave and knock out this Copperajah. So yeah, that's 250 damage because of the ability, but that's a lot of damage for a 1 prizer, although technically it is a 2 prizer right now because of the Lux Cape. Honestly, next turn we can just kill this Squawk with our monkeys and just take out whatever else he promotes. So these monkeys are just putting in work. We can also start attaching to our Feraligatr now and just making sure we have that established. But even if we don't have energy on it, the fact that we can just spawn in damage and move that around is just incredibly strong. Like, for example, if we set up a 3rd monkey now, if we're playing against Gardevoir or Dragapult or whatever, we could just use both Torrential Hearts, use all 3 monkeys to kill a benched Dracloak even, or a Curlier, and then kill whatever's in the active. So, and then how does Dragapult exactly respond to that? Like, sure, they can swing 200 into this and move 60 around, but we're just going to use 3 monkeys to send 90 damage back. So it's insane, because we can just one-shot a Dragapult as well. With Giant Wave doing 160 plus 120, that's 280. Now, if we use 2 Munkidoris doing plus 60, that's 340. That's one-shotting anything in the game with a glorified 1 prize. Alright, we go Precious Trolley. Finally seeing him do something. He's been under item lock for so long. Okay, alright. It looks like more than one of us can play the monkey game. So yeah, alright. He's gonna be moving back 30. That actually does kinda suck, because now we have to establish a 3rd monkey to actually kill this Squawk with Adrenabrains. But I don't think it should be too difficult to find a 3rd monkey. I think we could do it. The only issue is we're getting rid of a Dark with the research here, but let's see how this goes. Alright, we're not gonna be using, benching the Mimikyu. We want that monkey slot. We whiff it. We hit the energy, but no monkey actually, which does kinda suck. Alright, what can we do here then? We're gonna slap the water there. gonna put a Lux Cape on this guy as well. Let's use Torrential Heart. Do 50 damage here. I kind of just want to get the damage off of the board. Like, just... We probably shouldn't have used Torrential Heart then, because we can't heal all of it. But yeah, so let's just go move all of this here. We'll bench the Mimikyu now. And then we're just going to go Reverse Thrust, 150, kill the Squawk, promote the Mimikyu, and just hide behind that for a bit. So yeah, sick. That's another thing. I'm sure you could add more pivot Pokemon into this deck. Like a Klefki could be quite cool, because then against Gardevoir and other decks that also abuse monkeys, you can just go Reverse Thrust, promote the Klefki, and during their turn they have no access to their monkeys, and then you'll just retreat your Klefki into your Feraligatr, and then you'll have access back to your monkeys, and then you just keep doing that to keep denying them stuff like that. Also against decks that rely on basic abilities such as Ogerpon decks, Raging Bolt, if you just promote the Klefki, they can't use their energy acceleration. So yeah, set a pretty good turn here. Set up both Copperages. However, he doesn't have any way to accelerate energy right now. He's out of 2 TM Turbo Energize, so I think he's gonna have to manually attach to these guys over here, and we have a really easy retreat Torrential Heart and just kill this monkey. And then honestly, I think this game's done. Like, having double Feraligatr established with double monkey is just incredibly strong. However, with the rise of the Joltik box deck, I don't know how well this fares into that, unfortunately. I'm pretty sure the matchup is kind of scuffed, because they could just continuously ambu, which does kind of suck. And we don't really have an answer for that, really. Like, we have Mimikyu, but then they can always just gust around the Mimikyu, and they also have their Galvantula to kill the Mimikyu, so it isn't a perfect answer, unfortunately. Let me know if you guys like these kinds of videos. I haven't really made too many of them, so I'm pretty bad at it, but I'm sure with time it'll get better and better and better. I'm planning a few different things where one of them is quite interesting. Just going to go over the Champions League. There he goes. He scooped it up. Let's get into the next game. What I was saying was, I'm probably going to start making videos, weekly videos, where I go over what's winning in Japan in their city leagues and stuff. I'll probably make it like a Sunday, City League Sunday, or something like that. And just, yeah, try get to a more consistent upload schedule, because that's my main problem. I love making videos, however, when do I make videos? I have been streaming more often though, so check out the Twitch. I'll leave that below, HarprJP on Twitch. And then also, please do subscribe. It really helps. Let us try hit 1,000 subscribers before the end of this month. We are really close, actually. So, yeah. Alright, 6. We're playing into Latias deck, which means that they're probably not going to be playing many Switch cards. So, Big Bite could actually really cook it up here. Alright, so remember what I was saying, how this matchup is the sketchy one. Let's see how well we can do. We are going second, which is nice. It does actually allow us to kind of get into the game here, because he did retreat. Obviously, if he didn't retreat, we could have gone Big Bite and trapped this. However, this turn we can trap the Joltik. It doesn't really matter trapping the Joltik, unfortunately. Let's go Artisan. I probably shouldn't have done that. I probably should have just used alright, we actually gotta think for this game. I'm not too sure how we're planning on winning this. I'm probably gonna grab a monkey and just start trying to establish as many monkeys as possible, and then we'll just rip a research. I really want to see cards here. Alright, that is not great, unfortunately. We have Colress for next turn. I'm gonna grab double Totodile. We have one... Okay, as long as we don't top deck the Feraligatr, that would kinda suck. Alright, do you grab the double... I'm actually kind of happy to grab double Totodile here. And then next turn we have Colress for energy plus the tree into a Gator. We have Evo into a Croc on the bench. and then we can go reverse thrust into the Totodile here, and let that one die. Then the next turn we have another Feraligatr. The only issue with this deck is obviously you have to manually attach. We do play one Crispin, but a lot of the time you have to manually attach. So there are times where you aren't able to actually outspeed your opponent and get to the turn to Torrential Heart, whatever the actual attack is, Giant Wave. So sometimes you kind of just whiff it, which does suck. And then obviously that's your only real way to deal with these higher HP Pokemon. I mean, we're going to start moving damage onto the hands. The hands is the only threat here, so that's the thing. If we're able to deal with the hands, there's a solid chance we could... Alright, we top deck that. Let's go Artisan for the monkey before we bump our own stadium. We actually messed this up because... Okay, hold up. We have to reverse thrust with that guy to kill it. Alright, let's go this and this. We'll put the Grand Tree in play. We'll evolve our benched guy. We will Torrential Heart here. Alright, cool. Hold up, actually. So wait, let's go Torrential Heart and see what he does. What does he promote here? If we go Torrential Heart, put 5 onto the Gator. Then we go Adrenabrain to kill the Joltik. Alright. What does he promote here? If he promotes Latias or something else, then honestly, we just go Big Bite, right? Okay, never mind. He did promote the hands. Okay, I was kind of hoping he wouldn't do that. So let's go. Having the Mimikyu here would be so big for us. We gotta Evo this. We'll touch the water and then reverse thrust into this guy. We do have the knockout on the hands this upcoming turn, which is very nice. Yeah, alright. What did he grab here? He grabbed Gear and Capsule. Does he not play the Baton? Because if he doesn't play the Baton, honestly, he just goes Amp here. Wait, hold up. We actually have a knockout onto this hands? This could be quite big for us. Wait, okay. So it's 200. Okay, well, we have to promote this guy regardless, but I'm wondering if we can just set up... Okay, wait, let's see. Check this out. So let's go Torrential Heart, do 50 to ourselves here. So that means our... Okay, wait, we do need to grab Relicanth first. That is a thing. We do need to grab Relicanth first. Because without Relicanth, we're not doing much. So let's go the fish. Okay, so it's doing 150 actually. So hold up, we can kill this with reverse thrust and promote a Mimikyu here. We did prize the escape board. That's the name. Unfortunately, which does kind of suck. Luxcape doesn't really help in this matchup at all. But let's go Poffin for the Mimikyu. And then we'll go use the first monkey, move 50 or 30 off of this guy onto this guy. He now has 170. We're going to attach this here. Move another 20 from either one onto the hands. And then we can just go reverse thrust, 150. Take the knockout on the hands, promote the Mimikyu, and we feel quite safe. Alright, so we have 2 Gators set up. That's the thing. Like now we've set up, we have 2 Gators, and I'm feeling fine. We have a retreat for next turn. We can kill this Latias actually. Can we? No, we need a 3rd Mimikyu set up. Right, so we actually wanna giant. Honestly, I don't think we mind not killing this Latias though, unless he okay, never mind. He's probably gonna go go for a Joltik. So if we hit a water energy, we actually just have game. Because we can just go Torrential Heart, move 30, kill a Joltik, and then just go Giant Wave, knock out whatever's in front of us. Never mind, I lied, we don't have a retreat for the Mimikyu. Alright, I actually don't know why we went for the retreat play. We could have just gone for the knockout onto the hands. But we move. Leaving Mimikyu inactive isn't too bad either, just lets us build up our board a little bit more. Even if he does go amp into either of the Gators, I do want to find a water energy this turn to attach to the other Feraligatr, which will just mean we have game on whatever he promotes the turn after that, as long as it doesn't have like 4 trillion health. Which having double Pokegear in hand does mean we'll probably hit the research. Not the research, sorry. Another Arven for the Vessel. Okay, so he gets the hand set up, which we don't mind too much. Okay, now we have 3 gears in hand. We really don't need 3 gears, bro. Alright, we hit it off the first one, which does make me a bit happier. Let's go Vessel plus just whatever to thin, doesn't really matter. Vessel away the cape. Get ourselves some water energies. And now, honestly, I feel quite good here. I don't... Actually, wait, I do want to kill the Joltik here, because if he evolves it next turn, that would kind of suck. And then I'm just going to move the 30 from the Gator onto the Iron Hands, just so that with another Torrential Heart and moving 50 damage off of that, we can just get the kill on that regardless of what we attack with. So let's just do this here. 30 onto the hands, and we can quite happily pass. It is a bit weird to me that this deck just completely fell off of the face of the earth, right? Like, Feraligatr was doing so well in Japan, it actually won a Champions League, I think Miyagi Champions League, and then it just died. And over here we see, yeah, we're able to actually beat the one deck that I think is a really bad matchup, and that just shows you the strength of Munkidori's. So yeah, what's the lesson from today? I think any deck that can abuse Munkidori will be good, and I mean, I'll give the deck a 6 out of 10. I think it definitely has potential, but consistency might be a problem. But yeah, I'll keep looking into it and try to fix up those issues. If it had a catch line, I'd give it Gatorade. That's its label. Label it Gatorade. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe, smash like, sick invite.